I'm Elise Gilligan, and I'm here with Shawn McDonald, and we're talking about his new album, Closer. This is your fourth album, but it's been about 3 years since Shawn McDonald fans have had anything to listen to. Now that you're back 3 years later, what can they expect, or that might be different from the albums before?
Well, it's a lot more upbeat record than I've put out in the past. I tend to kind of, at least the last couple of records have been a little melancholy.
Yeah.
But like this one is, it's a real upbeat kind of, it's more of a pop record, which is weird because it's never been my forte, but I just kind of I've been really kind of into melody and hook and all that kind of stuff, but I just wanted to kind of do more of an intellectual pop record, one that's like upbeat, but at the same time it's deep. So it's kind of a combination of both worlds. So I'm excited.
Is there a particular song on the album that stands out to you and maybe kind of summarizes, this is Closer, this is my new approach?
Wow. I don't know if there's one that like summarizes the whole record, but I mean, my favorite song on the record, I mean, right now as it stands, is it's probably two songs. It's a song called "Don't Give Up" and then another one called "Control."
Right.
And probably my two favorites right now, but and for different reasons, really. I guess "Control" would probably be more for just I just like the vibe and its cool factor, and I had a guy named Josh Garrels played on it or sang on it and stuff, and felt really honored to have him part of it. And then "Don't Give Up" is just it's just an emotional song that really kind of was kind of a driving force of kind of helping. I wrote it to myself, and which is weird. I've never really written a song to myself, but it was kind of like a song of just kind of going through some rough moments and needed to like kind of get my head in line. So
yeah. You mentioned "Control," which is actually my favorite when I was listening to it. And you got to work with some great songwriters, like you mentioned, Josh Garrels, but also Joy Williams and Brandon Heath and Jason Ingram. But that song, particularly "Control" with Josh Garrels, you wrote over email. I was kind of wondering how that panned out, because I'm sure that was a different songwriting process.
Well, it's like Josh, I've kind of talked back and forth with Josh over the years here and there. People kind of put us in this same realm a little bit of some of our stuff, and I had approached him and asked him if he would be interested in touring with me, and just we could never like fully make it work. And but we were in the studio writing, and I wrote this that my heart is losing control, you know, like hook like thing, and it was just this cool vibe, and really liked where it was going, and I just was like, I just feel like this song needs somebody else on it. And so I just sent him an email. I was like, hey man, I have this song, and I would love for you to be a part of it if you're interested. And he said, well, send it to me and I'll check it out. And so I sent it to him, and he seemed excited about it, and he said he would work on it. And so we you know, I kind of just gave him a little bit of guidelines, but for the most part, I was just like, man, do what you do and just, you know, like have fun with it. And so he kind of did his thing and sent it back to us. And that's just kind of how it turned out. And it was just one of those special moments. It really didn't it was intentional, but it wasn't. It was kind of an accident at the same time. So, and it turned out.
Yeah,
I
great
feel
song.
great.
Definitely my favorite.
Yeah.
And you also have the song Mystery on there. Which you mentioned almost making the title track because it was so significant. And in that song you kind of deal with embracing the fact that you're never going to fully know God, and that a lot of our faith is just embracing mystery. And I was kind of wondering for you personally, like, where did you reach that point where you were okay with saying in your faith, like, I don't know?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a hard thing for me to fully say, because there's that fear of judgment of like, because I think in the Christian culture, it's like we want all the answers. It's like that unknown. It's like, well, we know because we have the Bible, and it's like, well, we don't really know. We know to an extent, but like for us to fully say that we know everything about God is to say that we can kind of like I mean, it puts us on his level, and I just don't think that it's possible. I don't know that I can fit him fully inside of me, at least not in a mental sense. And so that song kind of came out of just kind of wrestling with this need or desire to always know all the answers, and kind of trying to become all right with not knowing all the answers. And really what it comes down to, that's what faith is about, you know, like we put faith in, you know, like, and I don't think we should just be blind and not know. I'm not saying you shouldn't look into stuff, but from the sense of like, for myself, I just kind of let go of like this need to, it's more of an insecurity really to have to know everything about God, and just trusting that he's gonna, you know, show me what I need to know to make it. So.
And you've always been very transparent about your spiritual growth process, and also about your past and your present struggles. And a lot of people know that before you became an artist, you had kind of emerged from this life of dysfunction and drugs. And with this album, you've been very open about the fact that you wrote it while you were going through your recent divorce. And some people, when listening to Christian music, they might find that testimony comforting, and then others might find it alarming. But the truth is, that's something that so many people face. So I guess I was just wondering what it is that you want to communicate to your listeners about these personal trials, and maybe ultimately about the role that faith plays in them.
Well, you know, we could have hid it. You know, a lot of artists do, and you know, it's everybody's own personal choice. And I just felt like, for me to hide stuff like that, it's one, I just don't know how, like, right it is. But I just want to continue, hopefully, to be transparent and honest. And it's a humiliating thing for me. Like, I hate having to say it's my story. So I just, it's one of those things that it's there, and so I'm kind of navigating through it. And you know, everybody always asks me, like, what's my mission or my statement, you know? And it's just like, I don't know that I have a mission, you know?
Right.
Like, or they'll, you know, they put labels on stuff, and it's like, they want to put me in the same category as like a pastor or something. And I'm not, you know, I never got in this to be a pastor. I got in this because I love God, and I just wanted to write about my life, and that's what was going on in my life. And so I'm writing these songs, and so for me, this is a journey. It's just faith, and I just choose to put my journey into song and on paper, you know. And so really what I'm trying to convey is that I'm just sharing my own personal life with others, and, you know, like, letting it be what it is, and hoping that, you know, like, people can, you know, like, find comfort and joy in it, and, you know, like, find a home for the music, I guess. I hope it does, like, impact people and stuff. So I've just found that being honest and just sharing life it's harder to find, and it seems like it really moves people. So
you mentioned, like, especially with being a Christian artist, that there's a lot of pressure, and people try to put almost a ministerial role on you, and sometimes, you know, you're just being a musician and writing. What do you do to kind of retreat and maintain that authenticity when there's definitely a lot of pressure in that industry?
I mean, for myself personally, and this is something that I've been developing a lot more over the last couple of years, is community is one of the big things for me, and just having like a really core group of great folk at home, and trying not to be on the road too much, because road life is fun. You get to go places and meet people, but at the same time, like, it's really taxing. It can really wear you down, and so I just that's been a big thing for me, is of learning, because I mean, I'm a reader anyways, so even outside of that, I read a lot of books, and I spend a lot of alone time. I'm kind of a loner a little bit, you know. I'm an introvert by far, but something that I wasn't great at is definitely surrounding myself with other people. So it's something I've been definitely.
You mentioned reading. I was actually going to ask you, because obviously you pull a lot from your experiences when you're writing your songs, but what are maybe some of the more everyday, like maybe trivial things that people wouldn't pick up on right away, but those things that inspire you and make you want to write songs?
That's a hard question to fully answer. I don't know if there's just one like little trivial thing. I just kind of I sit down when I'm writing. I just sit down with the guitar, and I kind of, for me, it's kind of like a language. Is how I kind of speak in a sense. Like I get out a lot of my inner thoughts and stuff going on, and so I kind of consider writing for me kind of my own therapy sessions.
Right.
I guess.
Pretty cathartic.
So, yeah. So I just am like it's just processing. So depending on what's going on, I mean, I could have ran into, there's the coffee shop I go down to, it's by my house, and there's this lady that sits down there, and she's not from our country. She doesn't speak English. She speaks in another language, and yet I think she's crazy. I'm not sure, but she sits, I'm pretty sure she is, but she sits in the middle of the room and talks to herself, and like is so happy. Like she's just laughing and like having a conversation with herself, and just weird stuff like that. Like I just come captivated by that kind of stuff. I'm just like, I don't know what it is about that woman, but I just love her.
Yeah.
Like she's just so happy, and everybody else looks at her like, oh my gosh, this lady's weird, and she is, but that's kind of what makes it kind of cool. So I just like random like things like that. I think, just encounters and spur my mind to think about different stuff, and eventually it works its way into a song or something.